Here are the top 5 meta weapons to use for Black Ops 6 ranked play. Number 5 is the GPR. This is not my favorite, but a lot of the pros use it because it's a little more consistent than the Ames 85. For the optic, which is going to be starters, these will all be personal preference for the ARs, either between the Kepler Microflex and the AccuSpot Reflex, or pretty much whatever optic you wanted to use. I prefer the Kepler Microflex right now. For the muzzle, we're going to go over to the compensator for vertical recoil control. These will typically be either the compensator or the ported compensator, but for this one, I like compensator. For the barrel, we're going reinforced for damage range and bullet velocity. We're going reinforced for both damage range and bullet velocity. Bumping both of these up is very important. For the underbarrel, we're going to choose the vertical foregrip to help even more with horizontal recoil control, make this gun shoot super straight. And then the rear grip, we're going to go over to the ergonomic grip to help with slide to fire, dive to fire, and aim down sight speed. All in all, make this gun super mobile and very easy to use. And with weapon number 5 out of the way, we're actually going to go over the classes, the rest of the class that you'll use on pretty much every single class in ranked play. For the pistol, you'll either use the 9mm or the Strider 22 based on personal preference. I'll go ahead and show both classes here in case you want to use them. Actually, that is not the 9mm class I want to use. I actually want to go here. So we're going to use the Kepler Microflex, Compensator, Reinforce, Extended Mag 1, and Ergonomic Grip. The reasoning you might want to choose the 9mm over the Strider is because it hits a little bit harder, although the Strider is faster and more mobile. So I'll show you the Strider class in case that's more your playstyle. It is the Kepler Microflex, Ported Comp, Reinforced, Fast Mag 2, and Ergonomic Grip. I went over this in a previous video, but the movement speed and the sprinting movement speed is faster with the Strider 22 by just a little bit compared to the 9mm. So this is all going to be personal preference. Again, for me, I don't have my pistol out too much unless I'm wanting to finish a kill. So in my mind, I choose the more powerful one. I might change to the Strider at a later date just because it is a little more mobile. But anyways, we're going to go over the rest of the class. We have just the melee, because it's a dedicated melee slot. This is so you get places faster. Concussion and frag grenade. Concussion or smoke is probably going to be your only options in ranked play, and then frag or Simtex will be your only options. I would use frags on search and destroy and off breaks of maps when you know nade spots. I'm going to be releasing videos that go over pretty much every nade spot on every map, so definitely subscribe and stay tuned for those. In hardpoint mid-game, I would switch to a Simtex just because if you're wanting to quickly nade a hill or nade somebody mid-gunfight, a Simtex is for sure a better option than a frag grenade. Trophy system is going to be the same across the board, and then these perks, Perk 2 and Perk 3 are going to remain at fast hands and double time on every single class, but the Perk 1 is where you could change it up a little bit. I would stick with Ninja just to stay quiet, but for the perk greed, you could either do Flak Jacket, you could do Tac Mask if you're getting stunned a ton, or you could do Dexterity if you're doing a lot of jumping and want less weapon motion. However, just keep in mind you can get naded and stunned. You would be vulnerable to both of those if you do run this class, but that's the trade-off that you're looking for. And moving on from there, we have class number 4 is the KSV. While this gun is not too popular in Black Ops 6, if you're playing up close, let's say the Vault bomb site or somewhere that's guaranteed close range engagements, I would say the KSV is going to be better than the Jackal and the PP919. But again, this is for a very specific playstyle, so we're going to build it for that specific playstyle. The muzzle, we're going to choose the compensator for vertical recoil control. For the barrel, we're still going to go with reinforced to bump up the damage range and the bullet velocity. And the underbarrel, we're going to run the vertical foregrip for horizontal recoil control. Could also do ranger foregrip for sprinting movement speed and horizontal recoil control. And because I'm expecting to get up close and personal with this class, I am actually going to choose that to the ranger foregrip because the sprinting movement speed is going to be more beneficial than not. For the rear grip, we're going to choose the ergonomic grip. This is kind of the go-to rear grip for aim down sight, slide to fire, dive to fire, just keeping this gun nice and fast and mobile. And the last attachment is going to be the balance stock for help with mobility across the board with strafing movement speed, hip fire movement speed, and aim walking movement speed. So again, this is not your go-to SMG, but if you're playing up close, if your goal is to get the bomb down and then tuck yourself in a corner, this might be the best class to go to, simply because of how much better it performs up close. And up next, we're actually going to do a bonus class. This bonus class is the AK-74 with Gunfighter. The reason why I'm throwing this in there as a bonus is because the pros won't be using it that much. It may or may not get GA'd pretty soon, but it does have the fastest TTK of any AR that we're able to use, especially if you get some headshots in. So real quick, we do have the ported comp for that first shot recoil control, reinforce, which is typical, vertical foregrip, which is typical, and then recoil springs to help with your aim even more, and then the balance stock and the ergonomic grip for the mobility. You might not want want to use this class on every map and every engagement, but to change it up and freshen up the meta, I would definitely try this class out. And with the bonus class out of the way, class number 3 is the PP919. This was initially the meta in Black Ops 6 because it performs so well at mid to long range. However, the reason that it was so popular at the beginning is because SMG players didn't know their routes and didn't know their timings. So this class ended up being kind of a bailout. If you found yourself in way too many mid or long range scenarios, this will not be the best up close SMG. But if you're a fast submachine gun player that likes to take longer range engagements, this is the class for you. For the muzzle, we're going ported comp for horizontal, vertical, and first shot recoil control. The ported comp is actually insane on the PP919. For the barrel, we're going reinforced again to bump up that damage range and bullet velocity to extend the range of this gun even more. And I think I've mentioned this before, but extending bullet velocity in this game helps with extending the hit scan range. And hit scan range is super important, especially if you're taking long range engagements with a sub like this one. For the magazine, we're going to go to Fast Mag 3 to help with aim down sight speed, reload quickness, and sprint to fire speed. This does bump the mag size down to 30, but that's really not that bad. You could do Fast Mag 2 if you wanted, but I like Fast Mag 3. For the rear grip, we're going with either ergonomic or CQB. Based on the statistics down below, to make it more even, I would go ergonomic grip just to help with the aim down sight speed a little bit more. And then the last attachment for the stock, we're actually going to go with no stock for hip fire movement speed, and strafing movement speed. This has been my favorite PP919 class, so definitely try this out. However, this is not my favorite SMG in the game. My favorite SMG right now will be class number 2, which is the Jackal PDW. This is definitely the best well-rounded SMG, performs very well at mid-range. It won't be doing anything that crazy at longer ranges, and it doesn't have the fastest time to kill up close. But for general mobility and performance at all ranges, I would say this is definitely the #1 SMG. For the muzzle, we're going to choose the compensator for vertical recoil control. For the barrel, again, this is going to seem very familiar. We're going with reinforced to bump up the bullet velocity and the damage range. For the underbarrel, instead of the vertical foregrip like we have gone with previously, we're actually going to go with the Ranger to help with the horizontal recoil control and the sprinting movement speed. I've mentioned this before, but with Omni movement in this game, sprinting movement speed also includes the side-to-side sprinting and the backward sprinting. So if you're somebody that uses a lot of movement, you'll want the Ranger foregrip. Skipping over the magazine, for the rear grip, we're going to choose our normal ergonomic grip for help with the aim down sight speed, slide, and dive to fire speed. And the last attachment, the stock, is going to be balanced stock for the aim walking movement speed and general improvements to movement speed, hip fire, and strafing movement speed. So keep this class in mind if you're an SMG player. If I were to change anything out on this class, it would be the Ranger foregrip for the vertical foregrip, or for the barrel, you could swap the reinforced for the long barrel because bullet velocity is important for submachine guns, but it might be more important to bump up the damage range instead. So I'd go back and forth between these two. You probably can't make a wrong decision right now. Once the official meta has been solidified, I will update this at a later date. And with that out of the way, we have the final class, which is class number 1, is the Ames 85. This AR is super satisfying to use, super easy, and very mobile, and the class goes as follows. We're choosing the Kepler Microflex yet again. For the muzzle, you can go either with the compensator or the ported comp. When I'm using this class and beaming long range, I'm wanting to get the kill within the first 6 or 7 shots, so the first shot recoil control ends up helping me out a ton. So that's why I go with the ported comp. For the barrel, I like the reinforced barrel for the damage range and bullet velocity. Some people will also go with the gain twist barrel for just bullet velocity. Again, this is for that hit scan range, but I like the improvements in both, so we're going with reinforced barrel. For the underbarrel, again, you can either choose the vertical foregrip or the Ranger foregrip or even the precision foregrip if you're taking a lot longer range gunfights. For right now, I'm liking the vertical foregrip the most, just to minimize that horizontal recoil as much as possible. And then the last attachment for the rear grip is going to be the ergonomic grip, again, to help with mobility across the board. And those are your top 5 classes for Black Ops 6 ranked play. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did, and I will catch you next time at lunchtime.